Good evening. As a preliminary matter, this is John Regan, Chair of the Auburn Planning Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Ron Brooks.
Yes.
Nicholas Lynch. Steve Chambers.
Present.
Todd Corain.
Present.
Town officials and employees participating, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Town planner Adam Menard.
Here.
Staff assistant Rachel Pressey.
Here.
Good evening. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Planning Board of Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021 is now called to order at 7 p.m. This meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public meetings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so as long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the planning board is convening by remote participation from the public only. Although some members of the planning board are physically located in the selectmen's meeting room town hall, those members and employees are practicing social distancing in accordance with the governor's orders. For the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, call 1-312-757-3121 and enter access code 133-747-477. Or the public can join via computer at the gotomeeting.com/join/133-747-477. The remote access information has been posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Auburn Cable Television. Accordingly, those members of the planning board, employees, and members of the public who participate, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and please take care not to share your screen. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to the members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Let's go over a few ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair of the Auburn of the board will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the chair has listed of all public commentators, I will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So turning to our first item on the agenda, Walsh Avenue, Hoi Lung and Tai Nguyen, forgive me if I mispronounce your names, Colonial Road Estate of Gene Abbott, A&R. Two separate A&Rs. So is there anyone representing?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Steve Stapinski from Merrimack Engineering. I'm the surveyor who prepared the plan.
Okay. So just to give everyone an accurate idea of where these two lots are, I think There, you have McDonald's, you have a lot, and then you have these two lots, am I correct?
Yes.
Does anyone on the board have any questions?
John, I just want to confirm that it's the two lots on the left after the Peachy property?
Yes.
As you go down Welsh Ave, it's the two lots on the left after Peachy. Okay.
It's actually one lot. That's
The wooded lot.
Yeah,
A big wooded lot.
right.
According to the town bylaws, in this section of town, the required frontage is only 50 feet. These exceed that amount with a 91.67 frontage and a 91.66 frontage. Does anyone else on the board have any questions or remarks? There being none, is there anyone from the public that would like to make a remark or ask a question? Being none, may I have a motion to approve this A&R?
Steve Chambers, I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Ronnie Brooks, I'll second.
All those in favor? Ron Brooks,
Aye.
Steve Chambers,
Aye.
Todd Corain,
Aye.
myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. Good luck.
Hey, John, this is Nick Lynch. I joined like a second after you called my name on roll call. I just wanted to give you a heads up.
Okay, well, we'll take your vote then, too.
Aye as well.
Okay, it is a vote. It's unanimous. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next on the agenda is Molly Zelli requesting a special permit under section, what's that? What's the other A&R? Oh, Gene Abbott? Yep, this is the road on Colonial Road, estate of Gene Abbott, which you would like to subdivide, from what I see on the plan, the lot with the building on it from the lot behind it. And make it two lots, correct?
This is Molly Jelly speaking. Are we up at this moment?
No, we're not with you quite yet, Molly. We've got one more item first.
All right, thank
I
you.
misspoke. Is there anyone here representing the estate of Gene Abbott on the lots on Colonial Road? Being none, is there any comment from the public on this subdividing of the two lots, one lot into two? Are there any comments from the board?
Through the chair, making three lots.
Three lots. I thought it was two.
This is all one lot. So,
These two lots were together, not separate. Substitute this for this.
so here, back here.
Is lot 3 part of this plan?
I guess lot 2, 3, and 4 are part of this plan. Am I correct, Adam?
Yes. So,
So, John, I have a question as far as frontage on lot 3. It's not a buildable lot, so do we have to worry about to me it looks like it's 90 feet of frontage.
True, but it pretty much says on the note not to be considered a buildable lot at this time would require a special permit. Now,
Okay, that's what I just wanted to confirm.
lot 4,
it's going to go to this person.
oh, this person,
Yep.
is going to go to house number 4 on Colonial Road. And then lot 2 is being subdivided from lot 3, which it has 100 feet of frontage on Maria Lane. Are there any comments by anyone on the board? There being none, are there any comments from anyone that may be online in the public? Being none, may I have a motion to approve the subdivision or subdividing of these lots?
John, this is Nick. I'll make that motion.
May I have a second? Thank you, Nick.
Steve Chambers, I'll second.
All those in favor? Nicholas Lynch?
Aye.
Ron Brooks?
Aye.
Steve Chambers?
Aye.
Todd Corain?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. Now, moving on to the next applicant. Molly Zelli requesting a special permit under section 3.2.2.5 of the Auburn zoning bylaw and a waiver of site plan review for a combined business and dwelling and property located at 325 Southbridge Street, map 33, parcel 75. I believe this is the old Auburn florist, the brown building sitting toward Southbridge Street, if I am correct.
Yep, that is correct. Yep, so requesting, to be allowed to put a dwelling second floor in that building. For a long time, and, when we heard about the drilling space project,
Excuse
I
me,
thought maybe
excuse me,
that was a good
excuse me.
solution for the space.
Excuse me, we can't hear you. You are all muffled. I haven't got,
Oh, gosh, I'm so.
I don't have any idea what you said.
Is it any better at all?
Not really.
Okay, I don't have an explanation. We're asking for a special permit for our dwelling at the business location. Is this coming through?
Yeah, you want to make this a dual purpose, correct? Bottom
Correct.
stairs is a business and upstairs is an apartment.
That's exactly right.
So in other words, you can do the same thing as was done in the building that's right behind you.
Yes, we had requested doing that, and then very soon after the request was made, a tenant emerged, and so that has remained business use in the back building.
Does anyone from the public have a comment? There being none, is there anyone from the board that may have a comment? Being none, may I have a motion to approve this applicant for the special permit?
Steve Chambers, I'll make a motion to approve the special permit.
May I have a second?
Ronnie Brooks, I'll second.
Thank you, Ron and Steve. All those in favor? Todd Corain?
Aye.
Steve Chambers?
Aye.
Ron Brooks?
Aye.
Nicholas Lynch?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. Good luck, Molly.
So, Joe, do you want me
All right,
to
Ken?
waive the site plan review for this?
Oh, yeah. Can I also have a motion to waive the site plan review?
I'll make that motion, John.
May I have a second?
Steve
I'll
Chambers,
second it,
I'll
John.
second.
All those in favor? Todd Corain?
Aye.
Steve Chambers?
Aye.
Ron Brooks?
Aye.
Nicholas Lynch?
Aye.
I myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. So we are complete. Good luck, Molly. You're all set to go. Next on the list is applicant Eastland Partners Incorporated, a definitive subdivision plan for 3 building lots and construction of a roadway and related infrastructure improvements on property located at 50 and 190 Washington Street, map 34, lot 4, and map 27, parcel 14. Is there anyone here representing Eastland Partners?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Clay Williams is here representing Eastland Partners. And with me, I have Steve O'Connell from Turning Point Engineering and Heather Montecup from GPI, our traffic engineer.
Is there anyone from the public who may have a concern with this development?
John, I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you, Steve. May I have a second?
I'll second it, John.
All those in favor?
Roll call.
Todd Corain,
Aye.
Steve Chambers,
Aye.
Ron Brooks,
Aye.
Nicholas Lynch,
Aye.
myself, John Regan, is an aye. Before we get into the public comment or our comment, could the representatives from Eastland Partners kind of give us a rundown of what you plan on doing?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this subdivision we've prepared and is before you tonight. We've named Auburn.
You have to speak up. You have
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can't hear you. You have to speak up.
So the plan we have prepared and is before you tonight, we have named Auburn Commerce Park. As you've noted already, this is taking place at 50 Washington Street and 190 Washington Street, also known as the Dartmouth property in town. Between these two parcels, we have about 84.5 acres of land fronting on Washington Street or Route 20. We also have some visibility and frontage on the Mass Pike. A little bit of background on this site. The 190 parcel has been identified in the town's master plan and your economic development strategic plan as a prime location for new industrial development in the town of Auburn. Given your industrial park zoning, the frontage on Route 20, and visibility and access to major arterial roads, we feel the plan we've put forth tonight is harmony with the plans and, a great thing for the town of Auburn. A few years ago, back in 2013, Auburn, in conjunction with the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, identified this site as a PDA, or a primary development opportunity, based on those features that I already talked about. So we are proposing a industrial cul-de-sac road. We already have one user signed up for one of these lots, but unfortunately, due to non-disclosure agreements, that's as much as I can tell you at this point. We feel that, these properties in conjunction will bring, upwards of $1 million a year in tax revenue to the town of Auburn, as well as fulfilling some of those goals that I talked about earlier. So that concludes my portion of this. I'll turn it over now to Steve O'Connell to talk about the status of the engineering reviews and the comments we've got so far.
Thank you, Clay. Good evening. My name is Steve O'Connell from Turning Point Engineering. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great, thank you. So thanks for having us tonight. Clay gave you kind of a big picture summary of the proposed subdivision. I'll provide a little bit of detail from an engineering perspective before I turn it over to Heather for a little bit of summary from her traffic analysis. So the property consists of 50 and 190. The entrance of the roadway, which we've identified as Commerce Drive, will enter off of Washington Street and a triangular portion of the land with the address of 50 just westerly of the New England Power Company easement. That location provides, good topographic conditions, adequate site distance, and And then we identified wetland crossing opportunities that provided the least impact and terminated the cul-de-sac across the wetlands at a length of 1,485 feet. Longer than your 800-foot maximum, therefore a waiver has been requested. Part of the roadway design has taken into account the intended industrial users here, so you'll notice on the profile plans that grades are very reasonable without having steep roads and challenging topography and terrain. The pavement width proposed is more than your minimum. It's proposed at 26 feet for this road classification. And also waivers we requested include that road width, but also a waiver from your standard cross-section, which, as you know, requires not just the pavement width and curb on both sides, but a grass strip and 2 sidewalks and also street trees. So for the submittal of the subdivision, we propose 1 sidewalk. It's an industrial commercial subdivision. It could be argued that no sidewalk would be required, especially going out to Route 20. But we thought we'd show 1, have this discussion with the board, try to get your input, and and then react from there. So also on that note, this is an industrial commercial subdivision. But the grass strip between the road and the sidewalk, would be pretty burdensome to maintain, especially if this were to become a town road, which I think we'll get into in a few moments. So we propose the sidewalk right behind the curb. It is a vertical curb, so there's no safety concerns from a compliance standpoint. But again, part of our waiver request, and also again, we're happy to discuss these and get input from the board on their preference on these sorts of things. It's a good part of the road could be classified as wooded as it heads, towards the wetland and across the wetlands and then out of the wetlands. So we didn't propose street trees. Again, and I'm sorry to repeat myself, we're happy to, if the board's preference is for street trees or, some reasonable reduction in street trees. Again, it's, we're happy to have that conversation. We just thought we would start with some of these waiver requests and then, like I said, get the feel from the board. The project will be proposed to be serviced by Auburn Water from the Auburn Water District, and we're proposing a gravity sewer line to connect to the Auburn sewer system. The water is proposed to be supplied by an existing 12-inch main in Washington Street. We are in receipt from a letter from Ken Smith of the Auburn Water District. And until we can provide Ken with some more information on water demands based on users, he just can't commit to some of the aspects of the design of water supply. We're working with Auburn Water, and we recently oversaw some hydrant flow testing where the results were fantastic. So based on what we know today, we're very comfortable with the prospects of water being provided to this project from the district. We just continue to work with Ken folks to get them the information they need to make that determination on their own. Sewer, as I indicated, will be gravity. It will, from the end of the cul-de-sac going towards Route 20, about 3/4 of the way back towards Route 20, we will take the sewer off the road and go cross-country through the property with the address of 50 Washington Street, which is predominantly easterly of the power company easement. The sewer will traverse that property and propose to connect to an existing sewer manhole currently being used by the Winbrook Acres Mobile Home Park. For those of you who don't know, where my client is in conversations with Winbrook about that connection, they have an encroachment on the 50 Washington Street property, and Eastland is trying to work with Winbrook to address that encroachment, and in return, just look for the ability to connect to the sewer and some other details associated with ongoing sewer maintenance. But from an engineering standpoint, that sewer connection is very possible, which would be rather nice to have gravity sewer. No one would be happy with another pump station if it could be avoided. So what I'd like to do, Mr. Chairman, given that general summary of road design and some utilities, is acknowledge a few things that are also going on with the project. As you know, this is a section of Route 20, Washington Street, that is under Mass DOT jurisdiction. We are well aware of that. We will need an access permit from DOT. Heather will talk about some of those details in a moment as her traffic study is presented. She will talk to you about some improvements in some lane configurations and some widening along Washington Street that will be necessary to accommodate the project, and also the permitting necessary to accomplish that. We have also submitted the subdivision to the Conservation Commission, and that opening hearing is tomorrow evening. So we, again, will be back at this tomorrow night. Before I hand it over to Heather, I will want to acknowledge comments we've received from DPW. We appreciate getting those in advance. We have no comments or concerns at this time about their comment letter. We're very comfortable with addressing them. We've already made all of the plan changes that are mentioned or requested in the letter, and we have a proposed response forthcoming. We're also in receipt of review comments by Graves Engineering. And again, revised plans have been completed and are awaiting any input from the board that would provide additional changes, and review responses have also been prepared. So pending the outcome, some feedback we get tonight, we would expect to turn around revised plans and responses to the board and departments very quickly, within a couple of days, to try to keep this process moving. So that's a lot to go. And what I'd like to do is to hand it over to Heather, and she can summarize her work with regards to traffic impact study.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Heather Monica with Greenman Peterson, the traffic engineer for the proposed project. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect, okay.
Yes.
So as Steve mentioned, we did prepare a traffic impact and access study for this subdivision project. It's dated March 16th, 2021, and it does look at a 3-lot subdivision along Washington Street and the subdivision road of Palmer's Drive that has been presented earlier. We assumed a bunch of development on the property for Lot 1, which is a frontage lot on Washington Street, an auto dealership, Lot 2 a manufacturing facility, and Lot 3 a distribution facility. So we have come up with some traffic estimates based on that. The site will be accessed via the Commerce Drive that was just mentioned, a full access roadway allowing full movements into and out of that roadway, as well as another full access driveway for the pad site that will be that is currently proposed in the front on Washington Street. So our traffic study looked at existing conditions 2021 and the 2 site driveways. We looked at public transportation. We gathered traffic volumes. We adjusted them. We looked at collisions out there. We looked at vehicle speeds out there and site distances, which all minimum requirements based on AASHTO standards are met. We then, in accordance with Mass DOT standards, as Steve mentioned, we do need to submit to Mass DOT, went out to a 7-year design horizon to 2028 that includes historical growth in the area, any background developments. There is a bit of development or things that have been currently proposed or currently approved out there but not yet built, that we included in our numbers. We looked at trip generation for all the uses on the site. We distributed that traffic along the roadways and did capacity and queue analysis on it. I do have a concept plan that I could share. I'm not sure if I'm able to share or if you want me to share at this point a concept plan for improvements along the roadway at this point.
I think we got to get through.
Am I able to?
I would prefer getting through the basics on the plans and then in the Conservation Commission, then we can start talking about Mass DOT and what you plan on doing to Route 20, which is going to take a massive.
No problem. So I'll just quickly summarize then. We did a gap study out there to make sure that there were adequate gaps in traffic to get vehicles into and out of the site driveways. And due to the speeds on the roadway, as well as the grade and the volume of traffic out there, both on the roadway and turning into and out of the driveways, we are proposing left turn lanes at each driveway, so eastbound left turn lanes at each driveway, as well as a deceleration lane and acceleration lane for the lot 2 and 3 driveway, which is at Commerce Drive, and a connection between the 2 driveways. So we also looked at a weave analysis to make sure that the movements coming into and out of each driveway could sufficiently make those maneuvers without any conflicts, and that was those all operated fine, and it's all documented in our traffic study. The safety improvements, or the improvements out on the roadway, are more for safety. They don't increase capacity too much, although operations do get a little bit better. It's more of a safety improvement out there, trying to get the traffic out of the through lanes so that through movements can continue, and we can get that turning movement into and out of the driveways safely onto the roadway. So we will be submitting all the project information to Mass DOT. We'll require an access permit not only for the roadway improvements, but also for any proposed driveways. So that will be something we will deal with District 3 as we move forward.
I do have one question for you, Heather. I mean, maybe it's up to Turning Point, but looking at page C 3.1, I see 3 entrances.
I can address that, Mr. Chairman. This is Steve O'Connell from Turning Point. So, for the board members who are not aware, the property at 190 and only 190 is currently going under review by Caleb for exempt earth filling activities. So as part of the preparation of the site, which you may hear reference to as pad ready, earth materials from the back of the site are proposed to be brought to the front. And what that does is that provides a marketable pad, building commercial development pad site in the front, and the potential for multiple pad sites in the back without having to import material to the site. So the driveways that you see on sheet 3.1, starting from right to left, is the proposed subdivision roadway, and then moving to the left is the construction entrance for the proposed earth filling operation, and that entrance is for equipment that gets brought to the site. And then the third driveway you see continuing to the left is actually the site exit for the earth filling activities, which that location would be the approximate location of a site driveway that would service Lot 1. We don't envision a situation where Lot 1 would be accessed from the proposed subdivision road. It would have its own driveway from Washington Street.
Okay, you show that as your, for now, construction exit. Now, it's possible that the one in the middle would also be used as a construction exit. Shouldn't there be a tracking pad there as well?
So what we're showing is exactly exactly what was approved by Mass DOT for a temp access permit. And due to the nature of the traffic on Washington Street, this was set up as an entrance only and an exit only configuration.
Okay.
So you'll see that both have a paved, both entrances, both site drives have a paved apron, and the exit lane has the tracking pad as presented and approved by DOT for our what they call temporary access permit to perform the tree clearing that just took place, and the earth filling and moving that is proposed and under review.
Okay. Continue, Heather. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Not a problem at all. That does conclude my presentation, but I can answer any questions and get into any more detail that the board feels is necessary.
Is there anyone from the public that has a comment on this?
I have a comment in general.
You have to identify your name and your address,
Hello?
please. You must identify your name and your address.
My name is Richard Brady, B-R-A-D-Y. I live at 6-3 Farm Road in Auburn. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Mr. Brady, you may continue.
I guess I want to address the planning board and the town planner. I guess my first question is, how far is the area of the work to be considered from the property line of 50 and 190 Washington Street and also Tuck Farm Road? What is the distance?
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to provide that information.
Please do.
So as part of the subdivision plans, if who's ever driving the bus here, if it's you, Adam, if you could go to the next sheet, 3.2. So just a little bit of kind of commentary. You see proposed grading on these plans that goes outside of your normal subdivision grading. We thought it was best to illustrate the work that is currently proposed and under review by the building department, just for transparency. So this lot in the back off the cul-de-sac, which is labeled as Lot 3, that's a potential building pad site. That's the one that my client has in discussions with a potential tenant, and you can see that the grading that's proposed provides the exact amount of earth material necessary to fill the front half of the site to meet the grades as proposed in the front. So the extent of this grading at its closest point is about 55 feet from the property line, the common property line with Tuck Farm Road development, condominium development.
Okay, 55 feet. I guess my concern is I'm a homeowner there along with like 50 families. And obviously my concern and the concerns of others involve line of sight issues, noise issues that may result from the construction being done. And I guess my question I want to address to the planning board or the town planner is the distance between those 50 families and where the construction will be done. Is there enough distance to alleviate issues resulting from line of sight issues and noise issues or any other unknown potential issues that may arise?
tell me if I'm wrong regarding the engineering, but it looks like you're digging out the whole top left of the page to create material for the front of your project, leaving about a 32-foot incline. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Chairman.
So being at a 32-foot incline and the pad-ready site out there, is there any intent from your proposed top-secret client whether or not he's going to use that slope? Because if he's sitting down below it, that will definitely help with the sight line.
Yes. So even if, let me just give you a little more info. So, the pad site for that building, would likely be around like elevation 480. Well, so the ground elevation would be about elevation 476. And then it slopes up to about elevation 490, which is still in a cut. And that cut would slope up to elevation 514, 515. So even at that point, it's still almost a 25-foot cut, below the ground surface. And then it still continues to climb up to the closest Tuck Farm Road residential dwelling, to an elevation about 30 feet higher than that. So we're almost 50 feet of elevation change, from the closest part of the development of that lot to the nearest residential dwelling on Tuck Farm Road. And the distance from the limit of work, to the distance I gave you, about 55 feet, was to the property line. The closest dwelling unit at the end of Tuck Farm Road to the proposed work is about 325 feet. So I think between the distance and the grade change and the existing vegetation on the Tuck Farm Road property, I would hope and expect that they wouldn't experience the impacts that they're asking questions about.
Well, I can understand Mr. Brady's questions and concerns, because I think if I lived at the end of Tuck Farm Road and I was on my second floor of my building, or my home, my condo, I don't want to be looking down on an industrial area. Is there any way we can screen that from them, even though it's below? At the top of your ridge, can we, plant 20-foot arborvitaes or something that'll screen your property from theirs?
Yeah, I'm sure there's something that could be done. If I may suggest that as part of site plan review for the what would be proposed at Lot 3 might make more sense, because then we'll have a better feel, for what's going to be proposed there, and we could be very specific. I'd also like to note that there is a pretty large existing vegetative buffer of tall, mature trees, over 200 feet in length, that's on the Tuck Farm Road property, and about 50 feet of vegetative buffer that'll remain on Lot 3's property.
Right.
But, that being said, I'm certainly not opposed. We like to work with neighbors, and I just think that the right circumstance might be as part of the site plan review process for the development on Lot 3, just so, we're looking at a clear picture of what the development would look like.
If I'm not mistaken, most of those mature trees are all deciduous, so that's great in the summer and spring and the fall, but in the winter, they're going to be staring right down at you. That's why I'm proposing something to help screen that if possible. And I can understand you wanting to wait till the site plan review. But I think a lot of it may depend on what type of business is going to go in there. I mean, if it's going to be trailer trucks in and out, like I said, in the summertime, the noise level may be tolerable with the greenery and the shrubbery that's deciduous there, but in the wintertime or in the fall or really in the spring, when people start opening their windows and stuff, they're not going to want to hear trailer trucks going in and out. I know it's an industrial area, but still, I can understand Mr. Brady's questioning of all this.
Yeah, as do we. So I've made a note, and like I said, we're on the record, we're certainly willing to to look at those things, and not to repeat myself, but I do think the appropriate time would be during the site plan review of Lot 3, so we all have a good understanding of what that's going to look like.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to provide a comment or a concern?
So this is Richard Brady again.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment?
Sure.
Okay, I just, my comment is, I started this back last year, back in probably February, when I got a note about proposing rezoning of those parcels of land, which I don't know why, but it didn't materialize. And so I kind of stuck with it. And what I found out is I don't have the education and experience to really do what I should be doing to really pursue this. So I've got to rely on you, sir, Mr. Regan, and also Mr. Bernard as good shepherds to take care of us 50 families that live up there for the last 35 years. That those line of sight issues and noise issues potentially, they won't appear after all the construction's done. So that's my comment.
No, I can understand your comment, and I certainly do understand your concerns regarding this development, but as far as the rezoning, it is zoned as industrial park now, but it was going to be rezoned as highway business.
Correct. If it were
So there isn't really much of a difference of what could go in there.
correct with the town meeting,
Okay.
it would have been highway business, but because of the culvert of the situation, we've kind of put that on the back burner indefinitely at this point.
Okay, I just, again, it's, bottom line, we've got to rely on, the board to be good shepherds as far as those 50 families up there, okay?
We will do our best because, we're here to protect the town and the town DPW and the people of the town. We're not here to protect the contractor, or developer, although we have to be willing to work with them as well. We just want to be fair to everyone. And I can understand your concerns.
Thank you.
And you've already heard my comments already, which I'm sure I'm not done with them yet, but moving right along. Is there anything else, Mr. Brady, or are you all set?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, sir, that was my concern. That's why I stuck with it, because of that concern.
I understand. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment or a question? Have a question?
Yes, this is Barbara Koloski. Live at 56 Winbrook Drive. I represent Winbrook Acres. And I just want to say that we have the same concerns about our border, the buffer, the noise, what's going to be seen there. And I just want to get that on record, too, that we have those same concerns.
I can understand that, but I think there's a bigger gap between them and you than there is for Tuck Farm Road. I'm not sure of the vegetation and stuff between this proposed industrial park and you, but I know there's an easement there for the power lines, and I believe there's some more growth, and then your trailer park, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct?
Right, we buffered 50.
Okay.
Lot 50, but we do have those same concerns.
I can understand it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Doreen Goodrich. I live at Winbrook Acres Co-op, and I do have a couple questions, more so to the planning board's procedure. I'm not completely familiar with site plan approval for unknown businesses going in. So I too have concerns that we would approve something that's bad ready. My notes here say a potential auto dealership and a distribution center. I didn't catch the third one, but I'm wondering if they would need to come back for planning board if there was a significant change as to what they proposed to you tonight, be it an auto dealership or a distribution center, where we would have increased traffic flow, increased water usage, etc. I know that there are requirements, say, for car dealership when it comes to lighting and noise. But if they propose something else, it could have different requirements. So I guess my couple questions. The question is, how do you approve a site with so many unknowns? And I will echo Ms. Kolofsky's and Mr. Brady's comments, being good shepherds of the residents. I took a walk down where the proposal is abutting the Winbrook Acres, and it looks like they're coming quite close to the property. Now, I'm not saying that they are, but being on a Zoom meeting, it's hard to see the plan. So I'm wondering what the proposal is for that property. How close they plan on coming to the edge of Winbrook. I mean, there are residents who I've learned recently, have been there for more than 50 years. I'm not saying that they don't have a right to develop their property, but as Mr. Brady said, we want to be good shepherds of the neighborhoods, and Winbrook Acres is a neighborhood. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. And Adam, tell me if I'm wrong. As far as site plan approval, Doreen, I believe that you can approve a site plan, but once they want to put a building up on there or any type of industry, they have to come back to the planning board and get that approved. Am I correct, Adam?
That's correct. This proposal is mainly for the infrastructure, the roadway, the drainage, water, sewer, plumbing, electrical, that kind of thing. So they'd have to come back, once they know what the tenant's going to be, they'll have to come back for further review for the building, the actual building impacts and the parking impacts and lighting impacts.
Mr. Chairman, if I may add a little bit of commentary to that might help some people on the attending the meeting.
Sure.
Steve O'Connell here again. So any sort of, unlike a residential subdivision where it's going to be single-family homes or multi-family homes, depending on the zoning district, industrial commercial subdivisions are, they're a little more difficult because you have to take if you build it, they will come approach, because that's just the nature of the commercial development industry. So, when we work on things like these, we make some reasonable assumptions based on zoning, what's allowed by zoning, what's the density, requirements, parking requirements, impervious calculations. So, based on those zoning-related things, which are controlled by the town of Auburn, assumptions are made. And in this case, I would say that there were more than reasonable assumptions from a traffic generation, trip generation standpoint. Eastland and myself advised Heather to, let's not be too overly conservative here. We don't want to be accused of making low assumptions, and then something that generates more traffic ends up being the user, and then we're underprepared, we're underdesigned. So based on the zoning and what we expect to be here, the proposal for the trip generation that Heather proposed is more than reasonable. And then also for clarification, although 50 Washington Street is technically and legally part of the subdivision because a portion of the land is incorporated in the subdivision, mostly the road, which is west of the power line easement, with the exception of the sewer, which, you can see on the dash line here, that's a sewer easement that would provide the sewer by gravity over to an existing manhole in Winbrook. There is no proposals associated with the subdivision on the remaining land of 50 Washington Street. That would have to come in front of the board for site plan review, potentially special permit, depending on the use. So I just want everyone to understand, that there's no proposal for what, might occur at 50 Washington Street. It's just unknown at this time. Like I said, it needs to be shown on the subdivision plans because land, that's part of it, is part of the subdivision, and of course the sewer easement, which I've mentioned. So I just hope that provides some clarification.
It does. I mean, this project's got a long way to go. I want everybody to understand that, both the applicant and the public, that this has to go through peer review, and then we have to review it again, and there'll be another public hearing or an extension of this public hearing, and there may be more comments once this gets more solidified, where you already have a potential client for the back lot. I would assume that would be the distribution center. You wouldn't put a car dealership back there, and the car dealership would probably be up toward Route 20 where everybody could see it. So it's not rocket science figuring out what's going on. But I don't know what kind of distribution center that is. I mean, if it's Amazon, then your trip count would be way off.
What I can tell you is that it's not Amazon, not even close. It's an existing business who has a very good handle on their trip generation because they're an existing business. So that is something that is about as solid as as could be in this whole process.
Okay. Is there anyone else from the public that may have a comment or a question?
Sir, this is Richard Brady again. Could I just make one more comment?
You may.
I just, as you said, the time involved to get this whole project completed is going to be extended. It's going to be extensive. And I just hope that the concern of those 50 families on Tuck Farm Road isn't forgotten. That's all.
They won't be.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see that Bill and Caleb are in on the meeting. Bill, do you have any comments to add or questions for the applicant?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have some comments. I believe they were indicated in the comment letter. So if I could, I'll just run through them. I won't read all of them. I just wanted to touch upon probably the most important comments that I had. And these are all relative to the subdivision road. It's my understanding that relative to site plan review, as these particular sites right now are just being developed or pad ready, they'll all have to come back for site plan review. So my comments are based on the subdivision road. The first comment is they are proposing a 1,485-foot roadway, so 1,485 feet. The town's subdivision rules and regulations only allow for 800-foot dead-end road. And this is all, they're also proposing a bridge structure to span an intermittent stream. My recommendation would be, if this is going to be a town roadway, that it be limited to the maximum length of 800 feet, which coincidentally brings you to the bridge structure. So if that was the case, I don't want to own another bridge in town. And given the cost of replacing bridges in the future and maintaining them, my recommendation would be that if this was to move forward as a town road, that we end the road at 750 feet and not incorporate the bridge structure. I will also mention that we did have a meeting with the proponent earlier today, and whether or not they're willing to discuss it at this time or not, I did ask if I could bring it up. They did say that it was okay to bring it up. The potential of this roadway not actually being a town road, but being developed as a as an access road for their site and being owned and maintained privately. So it would be maintained through an HOA and not be a town road. So I don't know if that's something they want to discuss tonight or if that's something they want to hold off on for now.
Mr. Chairman, I think I could just say on behalf of the applicant that is absolutely something that they would consider. So we don't necessarily have to get into it, but essentially what happens is the road remains private. All of the lot owners are part of an association that are responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the road, and that's a very real possibility. According to speaking with my client today.
Bill, is Tuck Farm Road a town road, or is that privately owned?
Tuck Farm is a private road.
Okay.
Not a town road. It's private property. If I could, Mr. Chairman, so in addition to the maximum length of the road, if the development was to proceed based on what is shown currently with the 1,485 feet, whether it's town road or private road, I would recommend an emergency access road, especially with a bridge structure being the only access in. If that bridge is ever in disrepair and there's no ability to access the site in the back, I have concern with the ability for emergency vehicles to get to the back site. So that was another concern. That one I did not have in my original review letter. I did indicate in the letter we'd have additional comments forthcoming, so that's an additional comment that I wanted to provide tonight. We did recommend that an independent review be done of the traffic study that's provided. I'm sure Mass Highway is going to review the traffic study as well. And they'll have, I'm sure, considerable comments, and I have all the faith that Mass Highway is going to look at that very closely. Another comment was relative to the sewer connection. This is showing the sewer line going by gravity across number 50 Washington Street and then tying into private property at Winbrook Acres. Myself and the sewer superintendent want to bring this project to the sewer commissioners to get some feedback from them relative to a town sewer tying into a private sewer, then going into a town sewer. So we do have some concerns relative to the proposed sewer line. That comments will be forthcoming. And I believe there's a couple other comments. National Grid approval. The sewer line is proposed under the National Grid easement. So if that were to move forward in that direction, you need approval from National Grid. And then obviously any curb cuts require Mass DOT approval. Obviously, I think that we would recommend minimizing the number of curb cuts. Again, MassDOT is going to look at the same concern. And I believe that covers the bulk of my major comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Caleb, do you have any comments that you would like to add or questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any specific comments. I'm more here for just to answer any questions the board may have, because the project is currently under review for the earth fill through my office and engineering. So I'm just here to answer any questions the board may have as to where that process is.
I appreciate that, Caleb. Does anyone on the board have a question or a comment regarding this project?
John, it's Ronnie.
Go ahead, Ron.
I would question of whoever's appropriately can answer. What is the grade of the road that's currently most in the east direction? The one that goes down and across where you propose the bridge and up into your cul-de-sac.
I can provide that answer, Mr. Chairman. This is Steve O'Connell.
Please proceed.
Okay, sheet 7.1 of the plan set shows the profile. So there's about 106 feet of 3%, and then a vertical curve with a high K value of 50. Then the maximum grade is the next segment, which is 4.75%. And then a long vertical curve, again with a high K value of 50, and then it goes down to 1.25% to the low point before the bridge, and then it crosses the bridge and climbs at 2.5%. And then the cul-de-sac is 1.25%. So very relatively modest, grades well below the maximum allowed in your subdivision regs, which was by design. This is not a residential subdivision. The likelihood of trucks obviously was high given the zoning and the allowed uses. So that's the reason for the design slopes.
John, I have some other questions also.
Sure, go ahead, Brian.
Okay. You spoke of an encroachment by someone. Can you elaborate on that?
Yep, I'm happy to. Adam, if you could please go to sheet. Let's see. It's going to be sheet. I guess we could probably do it. It's going to be the sewer profile sheet, Adam, maybe 7.3.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yep. So this is a definitive plan sheet. So based on the results of the field survey and the title research and everything that goes into putting an accurate property boundary survey together, it was revealed the extent of the encroachment of multiple mobile homes and a portion of their road, which on the map is labeled Breezy Bend. And also within the encroachment area are two sewer manholes, one of which Eastland proposes to connect to. It's also illustrated on the... Oh, go ahead, Ronnie, I'm sorry.
How many properties are involved in the encroachment?
Well, there are almost three complete trailers and portions of a fourth, and a couple of portions of accessory structure. They look like to be sheds.
And how long have can anyone answer how long have those properties been there and as they sit?
This is Barbara Koleski speaking for Winbrook. They've probably been there well over 30 years.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, over 30 years, if you don't put in a claim for that land and proven that it's been taken care of for the last 20 in the event that you would like to perform adverse possession, if you have not done that, then you have no claim, if I'm not mistaken, Bill.
The applicant is offering to gift the land necessary to address this encroachment to Winbrook, and in return, they're asking for the ability to connect to the sewer, and they're happy to do a variety of inspections and analyses on the sewer system to demonstrate that will accept the relatively low flow that it would receive. And I believe the applicant has also offered to take over maintenance of the sewer infrastructure that their flow would run into. I don't know where negotiations stand with Eastland and Winbrook, but that's what I know.
I would say, go ahead, Ms.
Speaking for Winbrook again, all what he just said is under review with the Board of Directors. There have been no decisions made at this time.
Okay, so John?
Yes, Ron.
thank you, Mr. O'Neill. A concern that I have is that, you know, it just doesn't seem right that this is to Eastland. Why aren't you just going up into Route 20 and having the sewer line come down Route 20 to wherever it picks up at the and hook in there?
Well, it's a significant undertaking.
In what respect?
Well, you know, cost and permitting are the obvious ones. Any future development that may occur at 50 Washington Street would be able to access this sewer as well, and limit, you know, future road openings into Route 20.
What do you mean by limit future road openings into Route 20? I don't.
Well, if lot 50, at 50 Washington Street, which is the property that abuts the Winbrook Mobile Home Park, let's say had 2 buildings proposed, each of those buildings would have to have sewer services, you know.
And they would connect into that line that was in Route 20, right?
They would, right. So those would be, you know, additional work out in the state numbered route for sewer connections when it could be provided. So the other important fact to know is that in order to get up to Route 20 within the proposed subdivision road, it would require a sewer lift station. So anytime, you know, we can avoid a lift station, something that requires, you know, some sort of significant commitment for its operation and maintenance, we look for opportunities to do that. So with this gravity sewer as proposed, all of the lots in the proposed subdivision could benefit from gravity sewer.
If I'm Winbrook Acres, I have to say, I would, as a member of the planning board, I just don't like that idea. If I was Winbrook Acres, I'd be very concerned about having anyone else's water or sewage flow going through my property in the event there was ever a blockage and it would be up backing up through those trailers and out their toilets and everything else, whatever might happen, okay? I just don't know why. I don't know that we've ever done this in town with anything else where we let the sewer of one come through the property and sewer of another and then back into the state road sewer line.
I think that's why they're taking it to the sewer commission, Ron, where Bill had mentioned it's going to go from one private or public, basically, through a private, meaning the trailer park, and then back into the town-owned sewer on Route 20. It's never been done before in town, if I'm not mistaken.
And my own personal opinion with respect to the encroachment, and you spoke, I think, John, about the adverse possession, which is for a 20-year period, it would have been maintained. To try to take that back by the neighbor, by Eastland, I don't think it would ever fly in court. It wouldn't happen. So, and John, I still have a couple other questions.
Sure, Ron, go ahead.
Okay, so, yeah. Trees, did someone say you wanted a waiver for trees on the subdivision road, Thomas?
Correct.
Yeah, that's correct. We requested a waiver for no street trees. Engineering suggested perhaps some a reduction in trees, so larger spacing. But again, it's something that we want to get some feedback from the board on a number of these waivers tonight, at least unofficially, so we knew how we could prepare some revisions.
Yeah, I think everyone on the board would go to the site to look how close Commerce is to the existing tree line and whether or not that is going to continue to be there. And then the only other waiver I could talk about was for sidewalks and stuff like that. That I would probably not be opposed to in a industrial subdivision that's going to be walking out onto Route 20. I don't see that there would be much of a requirement for a sidewalk there, and I don't recall all the others. The other thing I wanted to say, John, is before any acceptance of anything, we, as the board, should want to see a letter from the water department and from the sewer department with their acceptance of all that this project shows. And also that we should be doing our own traffic study. And to the lady that presented the traffic study, Heather, do you think that because of COVID, right now there's some percentage of less traffic on the roads than there would have been, 2 years ago or a year and a half from now? Something.
If I may, I can answer that.
Go ahead, Heather, please.
That was, thank you. That is included in our traffic study. We did a comparison on whether or not that was required. And on this stretch of roadway, I'm not going to say that this is the same everywhere. It depends on what community you're in, what roadway you're on, everything, these COVID adjustments. But for this particular location, we did compare to historical data, and there was no need for a COVID adjustment. And that is documented in the traffic study.
Thank you, Heather.
If I may add to that, Mass DOT has put out specific guidance on that, which Green and Peterson has complied with, and which is why there was no adjustment necessary based on the specific guidance that's put out by DOT for traffic counts during COVID.
And my last question, John, is to Mr. O'Neill. If you were to come from the lower end, from your project as it exists with the cul-de-sac and Commerce Road, and you were going to come up and put the sewer in Route 20 there and then go down to wherever you could tie into it, I'm not sure where that is, and with a pump station or lift station, have you estimated any cost to do that?
No, we have not.
Okay.
Other than, we know the distance relatively close. It's the last sewer manhole. The Patrick Mazda pumped up West Tech Drive to the first gravity sewer manhole that they could, make work elevation-wise. So I suppose that could be an option. The other option would be, to run along Route 20. The first available sewer manhole would be at the driveway entrance for Lundgren Honda.
All right. One more question I just thought. From where you are now with your site that you've already excavated and taken the trees down, if you go east, as you go easterly, how much more of that are you going to cut? And is there any other big areas that are going to be developed and built on and clear cut as you're going towards Winbrook?
Right, no. All of the tree clearing that you see on site today is the extent of the tree clearing shown on the plan being reviewed by the building department. So there'd be no further cutting until the subdivision were to be approved, and the cutting that would occur for that would just be the triangle of land that remains treed between the limit of clearing now and close to the power line easement, because that's where the subdivision road would be proposed. And then any necessary...
On your other piece of property that abuts Winbrook, you're not going to cut that and you're going to develop a couple of lots there?
That would, not as part of this application.
A separate project.
Right, not a part of this project, correct. The only thing would be necessary for sewer if the sewer was routed in that direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ron?
I'm all set for now, John.
Thank you. Does anyone else from the board have any questions or comments?
John, this is Steve.
Please proceed, Steve.
So I'm definitely looking forward to the Mass DOT and their thoughts around that. I know we've had some issues with West Tech Drive and traffic, which concerns me with Lot 1. Having a separate drive when you're going to look to install a separate road. Personally, I feel more comfortable with it coming from that one area and seeing what their feedback is. I know it gets pretty congested down there with the lights up at Millbury Street, so increased traffic flow and people coming over the hill, it's going to be a challenge. So I'm looking forward to that. Personally, I wouldn't want to waive the trees as part of that, but I'd be amenable to sidewalks not having the grass strip. So something we can talk about. But also, I think as we get further into your site development, once if this goes through with your subdivision, we could certainly talk about that. But I'm in favor of making all of them have the plantings, regardless of what's in the background. And hopefully your future plans show your tree lines. That way, especially with lot 2 and 3, we can actually see how much coverage we have with those. And then the other issue I had, and I didn't see Bill's note, but the 800-foot road limit. If we were to take that on, I'm glad Bill was able to get that out to you. But I'd like to see if you guys have other proposals if you want us to take on that road. I'm not a big fan of the bridges either in that area. And I think everything else has been talked about. So looking forward to seeing some revisions as well.
Nick, do you have any questions or comments?
No, John, not at this time.
Todd?
You may have stepped out. You mentioned he had to leave.
Okay. So I guess the only one left on the board is me. I have a few questions. I noticed that with the bridge areas and the encroachment on the wetland areas, I didn't see anything, and I may have missed it, any replication areas.
Yes, there is. And this replication area was previously approved by the Conservation Commission as part of the earth filling pad ready development. So on sheet 3.2 of the plan set, as you cross over the bridge and as you're approaching proposed wetland fill, approved wetland fill for bordering vegetated wetland, there is an adjacent wetland replication area. So the wetland fill is 3,178 square feet, and the replication is 3,950 square feet. There you go. So you can see.
I got it.
Towards the bottom center part of that page, the fill, and adjacent to the fill is the replication area.
Okay. On page C 2.5, I'm looking at the proposed 20-foot wide sewer easement.
Yes.
And I noticed that goes through the wetlands. Is there any special provisions going to be provided for installing sewer pipe in wetlands that are notably usually have peat under them? Is it going to be ductile iron pipe or PVC?
Yeah. Nothing that we've detailed. I'm sure it's something we would dive into with Bill and sewer department. That would be temporary, kind of cut and cover, as I sometimes say. Pretty straightforward sewer trench work. Proper bedding and backfill. But the situation, since we've got this screen up, you can see the proposed sewer going through the New England Power Company easement. We have had correspondence with New England Power, their real estate division, something we've done a number of times. Eastland is working on what they call an assent agreement, pretty common with power companies. And when that happens, they like these sort of encroachments to go perpendicular as much as possible, and kind of the result is the location where we've proposed it there. So route at this time.
Have you done any borings in these wetland areas to see what's actually underneath the wetlands, whether it's gravel, sand, ledge, or peat?
We have not. We've not done any sort of soil testing or borings in this part of the site.
So then we can't go by a standard cut and cover in that area. That has to be researched more. On page C-4.1, on your typical utility trench, you show backfill with gravel bedding to mid-diameter when other than PVC pipe is used. Now, is your gravel, or is it processed crushed stone, like 3/4 inch? Because if it's 3/4 inch, it should be designated.
Yep, we can update that to clarify. We can actually spec, a Mass DOT product.
Okay, and then if by any chance there's any sheeting needed, even though you don't go below the invert of the pipe, removal is against all standard today. You would have to cut it off 5 feet below grade. I don't know how close that would be to the pipe, but the sewer line seems fairly deep. And then on the sign, on section 10, it says cadmium plated bolts with hex lock nuts in the breakaway area. What is the breakaway area? Is it the post or is it the bolts?
It's a fitting that mounts, the post that goes above the ground to the post that's in the ground. So if it's hit by a vehicle, it's designed to snap and break away, trying to, cause as minimal damage as possible, probably even save a life here or there if it were to occur in an accident.
I just want to know what's going on.
I don't know who that was, but I'm just curious, Steve, where that weakened portion is. Is it in the coupling piece where you bolt the top to the bottom? Is that the weakened part? So if you hit it, it just snaps off?
How do you keep it in there?
Mr. Regan, I think it's a combination. I think it's a coupling piece combined with the bolt configuration. But I've never been asked that question, so I'm happy to get you an answer for the next meeting.
I appreciate it. On C4.2, you show a corrugated polyethylene flared end section. I'm sure that may come up in the design review. I'm not sure. And then on your open grass channel, I'm surprised that's not rip-wrapped. It's a 3-to-1 slope, so.
Usually it depends on the velocity of the flow in the channel, because the grass will provide, great treatment and filtration and, fairly easy to maintain. But certainly when velocities, get to a certain point where you're going to find scour and erosion, riprap is more commonly used. You'll see in, I think, 2 instances on the site, or a couple instances more or less, where it's going to be used as a diversion technique to get flows to divert to stormwater areas.
Okay.
That was the intention.
Okay, on sheet 4.4, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it for the 1,000th time since I've been on the planning board. LeBaron Foundry does not exist. So if you give me LeBaron Foundry or equal, there is no equal to LeBaron Foundry because they don't exist. Can we please update every engineer in this town, city, state that they go to EJ, Nina Foundry, or whatever the town uses? Because it frustrates me. That's not paying attention to the details, and that makes me look even harder for details. Speaking of details, you're on a precast concrete drain manhole on your first detail, and you show a mortared pipe connection. That should be non-shrink grout. Detail 2, the hood is LeBaron, so that doesn't count. And the same for detail 3. And then on the next sheet, C4.5, Bill can correct me if I'm wrong, or if someone from the sewer department can correct me if I'm wrong. Usually on a drop sewer manhole, which I don't think you have any shown on the job, it's usually inside drops now with half caps on the inside, and both the top and the bottom of that drop manhole, entrance to the manhole, are corn sealed boots. Your PVC pipe.
You are correct, John. Inside drop.
Inside drop, right? Larger diameter manhole.
Correct.
Thank you. The pipe bedding under your PVC pipe section 6, should be a 6-inch minimum. There's no 4-inch above earth. It's either 6-inch or better above everything. On your thrust block and typical valve detail, where you have a T and then a valve, my first question is, why wouldn't you use a valve retaining T? My second question is, what is the volume of your thrust block? And as far as pouring concrete up against the hydrant, I don't know if roof felt's going to take care of it as a bond break, because roof felt does disintegrate. But if you wrap the poly and keep the drain open, you'll get a bond break in case you ever have to remove that hydrant. I didn't see a designation anywhere for what class DI pipe you were planning on using, or whether or not you're going to use Megalugs on all your mechanical joints. And usually the minimum stone around the drain of a hydrant is 1 cubic yard. On C 5.1, where it says proposed mulch berm, is that for erosion control, or do you really mean wattles there or hay bales?
Yep, so that's for erosion control. It's very effective. Chippings from trees are saved. For some of the trees on site. So it's kept in a stockpile and used as a form of erosion control. It works fantastic.
And they're not put in a cloth tube of any sort?
Yep, so at the toe of slope, there's an erosion control barrier, which consists of a combination of silt fence and wattle.
Okay. And then on your, you have a discharge point, I assume on a drain on page C 5.2, or a swale. And it's discharging right on the National Grid easement. You can't do that. You have to contain that in your own property. You're not allowed to add more water to a neighboring property.
That's actually the applicant's property. The New England Power has an easement over the applicant's property. But what we're trying to do is just try to maintain the drainage patterns.
Eventually, it's going to go across the easement and into the next lot. When you show your rolls of erosion control blanket for slope stabilization, I've only seen them perpendicular to the slope, not in line with in the same direction as the slope, because it tends to create rivers between the layers, or where they join them up. And then on your construction safety fence, I would recommend a chain link fence and not a plastic one, because they don't stand up over time. They disintegrate over time in the sun. And then on your fill chink with the riprap slope stabilization, you don't really give me a size of, other than fist-sized spaces, but that's not going to fill them all. There's going to be spaces smaller than that. They're going to need protection. That should be chinked with stone. And then on your C5.4 temporary dewatering structure, I see you have a silt bag surrounded by hay bales, which is great, but I don't see anything where it says how often it's cleaned or replaced. And then I believe my last comment is on page C 7.4, the sewer line from sewer manhole 2 to sewer manhole 3 that is above all standard slope. You're going to have a flow speed of 13 feet per second when only 10 feet per second is allowed. So there should be a drop manhole in there to mitigate the slope. You can't, because you're going to have scarring down at the bottom. Not only that, you're probably going to have separation of fluid and solid.
What run was that? Sorry, John, I missed you.
Sewer manhole 2 to sewer manhole 3. So it's station 19 plus 40 to station 2103. It's about 150 feet according to the plan.
Okay, I see it now, thank you.
And that's all I have for comments. Is there anyone else that has a comment regarding this project? There being none, may I have a motion to extend the public hearing till the next meeting?
I'll make that motion, John. Ronnie.
May I have a second?
Steve Chambers, I'll second.
All those in favor? Ron Brooks.
Aye.
Nick Lynch.
Aye.
Todd Corain. He's not here. Steve Chambers.
Aye.
And myself as an aye. It is a vote. I guess we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks after the peer review has been done. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time and explaining some of the design stuff here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next on the agenda, applicant Mohammed R. Nashami, Papa Auto LLC, requesting a site plan approval with waivers and special permit under section 9.4 and 3.2.6.3 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for automotive sales on property located at 317 Southbridge Street, map 25, parcel 27. Can you put that up on the big screen?
John, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
May I have a second to open the hearing?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Steve Chambers,
Aye.
Ron Brooks,
Aye.
Nicholas Lynch,
Aye.
myself, John Regan. It is a vote. Is there anyone here representing the applicant? I see. So I'm trying to get my perspective here. There's been so many things on the list tonight of where 312 Southbridge Street is. 317, I'm sorry.
Uh, 317 is right across the street from Town Fair Tire, a little bit farther from Town to Fair Tire, on Route 20.
Gervais Mechanical's old building?
Yes.
What building was it, Steve?
Isn't it, Adam, isn't it the building that's right as you're going into Worcester from Drury Square? It's the old Gervais Plumbing building right next to the Harrison Ave Bridge.
Yes, it's right here.
Where is Harrison Ave?
Yeah, Town Fair Tire is across the street.
I apologize for the delay, but I had to see it blown up on a screen. Would you like to present anything, Mr. Nashami?
I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't hear you right.
Would you like? Is there anything you'd like to say or present regarding this application?
I'm just trying to, do business over there. The property where I in Worcester before it's sold, so I'm moving to this area. I found Route 20 is the right place for me, and hopefully we'll, do good business in the town of Auburn.
Is there any questions from anyone in the public? Being none, is there any questions from anyone on the board?
John, this is Steve.
Go ahead, Steve, please.
Yep. So how many cars are you proposing to have on the lot at a time?
Between 8 to 10. 8 to 10 cars.
And do you ever load using car carriers or unload using them, or how will the cars
No,
be?
usually they, they come in one by one. I don't buy like bunch of cars all the time. I buy like 1-2 cars a week. They come on a towing truck, one by one. I don't buy, I don't buy a lot in 1 week. So I buy it like every week, different one.
And how many employees do you plan to have on your busiest shift?
In the meantime, I'm just going to be myself, and I'm planning to have like more, if the business going better, I'm planning to have like at least 3 or 4.
Okay, thank you. John, I'm done with my questions.
Anyone else? Ron?
John, this is Mike.
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Okay,
Nick.
I'll let Ron go first.
Okay, go ahead, Ron.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, so I guess...
I just wanted to ask, how many total parking spaces do you have? And is there a basement in your building?
There's a basement, but I'm not going to be doing with the basement anything. I'm renting the 317 on the right side, and I'm renting the underneath. It's a small lot on the back, and I have on the paper it shows where the car's going to be parked all in line. Nothing on the street, all in line down the hill.
How many parking spaces do you have there total?
Around 15.
Okay, so that covers your 10 cars and your 3 or 4 employees once you get moving.
What's the formula?
Thank you.
Parking spaces per square foot of building, Okay.
I do have no problem.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr.
I'm sorry, I do have like 3 spots in the front for my customers.
Ron, anything else?
All set, thank you.
Nick, please go ahead.
Yeah. Which set of spaces that you have on the outline here would be used for the actual cars that are for sale?
It's going to be on the right side, down the hill spots. It's marked on the planning, on the parking side. Yeah.
Okay. On the right side when you're looking at the front of the building?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that it, Nick?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. My question is, tell me if I'm wrong, did you say you're going to rent out the left side of the building and the right side of the building?
The right side only. Right side.
So you're renting out the building or you own the building?
No, I'm renting. I'm renting the building.
Okay, so...
Not the whole building. I'm renting the right side office of the 317. It's a huge, it's like couple of business over there going to be, but I'm renting the right side. I have my office, I have my bathroom, I have my access myself, and that's the right side of the building.
Well, my only concern, sir, is the parking that's been brought up. I would think if it was just you, yeah, you got plenty of parking spaces, but with two other businesses there, I don't know if there's enough parking.
There's on the left side of the parking, the building, there's a parking lot also. That's for the other two.
How many parking spaces on the left side of the building?
Between 10 to 12, if I'm not wrong.
I don't know.
We're bringing it up on Google right now.
This is the left side.
Oh, yeah. Can you get onto the right side, Adam? This is where the House of Wheels used to be. Yeah, it looks like you have plenty of parking spaces looking at the picture here on Google. So I don't have a problem with that. Does anyone else have any comments from the board or the public? Excuse me. May I have a motion to approve?
John,
oh, go ahead,
John,
Steve.
I'm sorry. There will be no repair on site, correct?
No, just sales.
Thank you.
Except for maybe a taillight, I mean.
John, I'll make a motion to approve the use of this building for auto sales.
May I have a second?
2 votes, one for a special permit, and one for the site plan waivers.
Okay, so we need 2 votes. We need 1 here for the special permit.
3 votes when you close the hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second it.
Thank you, gentlemen. You're ahead of me tonight. Okay, may I have a vote to approve the special permit? A motion.
Close the hearing first.
You just did. Oh, we got to vote on it.
Roll call.
How many in favor of closing the hearing?
Aye.
Steve, who made the motion? To close
Steve made the motion.
Okay. Who seconded it?
I seconded it.
Okay, all in favor. Steve?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Nicholas?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. 2 votes, right?
Yeah, one for a special permit, one for a site plan waivers.
May I have a motion to approve the special permit?
Steve Chambers, I'll make that motion.
May I have a second? Bueller?
This is Nick. I'll second it.
All those in favor? Steve Chambers?
Aye.
Ron Brooks?
Aye.
Nicholas Lynch?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. May I have a motion to approve the waiver for
Site plan waiver.
site plan waiver?
John, Steve
I'll make
Chambers,
that
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll take Ron's as a motion. I'll take Steve's as a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Ron Brooks?
Aye.
Steve Chambers?
Aye.
Nicholas Lynch?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. Good luck, Mr. Nishimi. You're all set.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sherman. Thank you all. Thanks. Good night.
Next up on the agenda is applicant UG 786 LLC, requesting site plan approval with waivers under section 9.4 of the Auburn zoning bylaw for a convenience store at 151 Auburn Street, map 24, parcel 498. Is there anyone from the...
Shall I make a motion to open the hearing?
Yes. You may,
I'll second that.
may I have a roll call vote? Steve, all those in favor?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, it is a vote. The hearing is now open. Is there anyone representing the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and the board. This is Tracy Sharkey for Guaranteed Builders, 14 West Street, Douglas, Mass. On behalf of the applicant.
Please proceed.
So we are here tonight to request site plan approval with waivers. We submitted a site plan. We have requested the majority of the waivers. The activity on the site was excavating the existing asphalt and repaving in the same footprint. The company has stated that there was no expansion that took place between that time that the owner purchased the property and now there was some flooding caused by a clogged pipe on the rear of the property. So we investigated that and we would propose to clear that out once we get the proper permissions. So they would like to open it the exact use that was previous. It was about a year, I think it's been closed. And they've all their other approvals needed, state approvals and town approvals to open. So they are not proposing anything different than what was previously operating on the property.
At this time, do you have a Board of Health approval?
I believe they have all their approvals. I think there was a correspondence with the building department and the Board of Health for the sign off.
I think you are wrong on that. From what I'm being told right now, after I asked the question, is that you do not have a Board of Health approval. So until...
we have been delayed for multiple months. It was paved in November. So I don't know if they proceeded November 17th, 2020.
Paving the
Let me just see what,
paving the parking lot has nothing to do with the Board of Health approval. You pave the parking lot without a permit. You remove pavement without a permit. You repaved an entrance without a permit, as far as I know. I mean, I'm not trying to be an obstacle here, as I know you want to get the store open and get revenue coming in, but we have to dot all the I's and cross the T's. So as far as I'm aware, until you have a Board of Health approval, we cannot approve this in the planning board unless we have a condition.
There's a standard condition of all approvals have to be met.
Okay.
I spoke to someone from the Board of Health today, and there was a couple items there.
And as far as...
What were the items, if you could share?
I don't recall all of them. It would be best to contact them directly. They'd be able to run down what they have left for you to do.
And who was...
John, this is Ronnie. Can I ask Adam a question?
Go ahead, Ron.
Adam, excuse me. Where are we with the water problem and the fact that water from there was, I thought, being directed onto the property to the southeast of that?
Sure, to the chair, Ron. The senior civil engineer, Alish Corey, submitted a letter to the board commenting on some of the drainage and on her observations of the site.
And her biggest...
I'm not sure if you've met her yet. Alish Corey, she's the senior engineer for the town. She works with Bill Coyle.
Okay, and so there is a problem, there was a problem that was water was coming from this property and going onto that of the children's business next door?
That was attributed to a clogged 24-inch culvert, Ron. That's what caused the local, I'll read her letter. We agree with the applicant's assessment that the clogged upstream end of the 24-inch culvert shown on the plans is a contributing factor to localized flooding in the area. It is recommended that the channel be cleaned of debris and vegetation and the channel restored to a design standard set by the Conservation Commission. As the owner of the parcel, it is the applicant's responsibility to ensure proper maintenance of the drainage channel and culvert to the limits of the confirmed property boundaries. Based on site observations, the roof downspout on the southwest corner of the building directs flow southerly towards 141 Auburn Street. You must redirect the flow away from the neighboring property and into the drainage channel to the west. I don't know if that's been done. I have no confirmation of that, but until the drainage area has been cleaned of the vegetation and the debris, and I don't know if you need a permit for that. You would have to call it the town or the Conservation Commission on that to get into that, because it is kind of a wetlands back there. It's very wet. And then we can proceed from there. So
I think we have to.
Go ahead, Ron.
And I think we have to, we should, as a board, try to clear up that before we issue any site plan approval or any permits to open.
I was going to ask the applicant and the board for a continuance until the next meeting, because this all could be taken care of in 2 weeks, I would imagine. And then they'd be off and running.
Mr. Chairman, are you accepting a better comment at this point?
Sure will. Please proceed.
May I make an abutter comment?
You may, but you have to identify yourself and your address.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. My name is Doreen Goodrich. I am the chairman of the board of directors at Packagug Acres Daycare Center at 141 Auburn Street. Unfortunately, our executive director, Joe Martin, took ill, and he is unable to participate in tonight's meeting. But he did ask me to make a brief statement on his behalf, and his statement reads as follows. There has been little to no improvement in the runoff. Therefore, to protect the intermittent stream, the property at Packagug Acres, and the water runoff on Auburn Street, we respectfully request a full site plan review. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to make a comment.
I appreciate it. I believe the site has been reviewed by the senior civil engineer for the town, and these other requirements that she has brought forth in her letter dated March 11th of this year have to be completed and then inspected to make sure they're done properly, and that the downspout is redirected the flow from that away from the abutting property. Until that's done, we can't approve this at the planning board level. So I was going to ask the applicant, or the representative of the applicant, Tracy, if she would like to continue to the next planning board meeting, and in the meantime, they could probably get this all taken care of to satisfy everyone's concerns. Tracy.
John, it's Ronnie.
Go ahead, Ron.
Do you think we can do it? Do you think we can do it that way, or do we have to request that they come in for a full site plan review?
I believe that the engineering department already done a site plan review.
They wouldn't have done anything quite as comprehensive as what sending it out to a third party, but they did review it for these particular stormwater issues.
Yeah,
that's a major concern.
Adam, should we have them come before us for site plan for this? Especially that it involves this drainage and the water going on to Packagug Acres, and also the water that goes out into Auburn Street. And this has been going on for, this is at least a year and a half old since we heard of it.
So my opinion would be we let DPW try to resolve it without adding a further burnout. I'm not sure exactly what Graves would do aside from everything's already built except for these issues that are with the already built infrastructure. I'm not sure how much benefit going up to that would be. I think if we can get
It's
DPW and their engineers to kind of work with the applicant to address their concerns. I think that should suffice to handle the situation.
I agree with you, Adam, that, the DPW can work with the applicant and get these concerns taken care of the abutting property owners, and then we can move on from there. To go to a site plan review, to a peer review, I think is not really cost effective, and it's a real burden on the applicant. I mean, if there was this was a brand new building going in and they were going to redesign the entire site, I'd say yes, it has to go for a site plan review. But this is an existing building. They did some things out of order. I understand that, but basically they removed the asphalt and then paved it both without a permit. So I think this can be resolved between the applicant and the DPW. And if we extend this out to or continue it to the next planning board meeting in 2 weeks, then all of these problems could be rectified to the satisfaction of everyone involved.
Through the chair, John, may I state something?
Sure, Steve.
So it's every time we feel like things are making progress and getting resolved, I'd like to have the opportunity for a rain event once it's been corrected and we feel that it's been corrected, or the engineering department feels it's corrected, that we have a chance for a rain event to ensure that the neighbors are protected.
I think that's a good idea.
I agree it'd be a good idea, but I think a rain event can be replicated if we have enough water running on the property. Meaning, if there's a nearby hydrant, you get a permit from the water department to hose down the whole area with a fire hydrant and see where the water goes. And that would be a
and I think
rain event.
that was my intent, yes. So if there's another way to replicate that, I just want to make sure all parties are aware that it was corrected.
You can do it with a garden hose if you go step by step through the site and run the water long enough to see where it runs. And it can be done that way as well without having to open up a hydrant. You just got to go almost like a grid system, step by step through to see where the water runs and if it's running to the proper spot. But before I did any of that, I would make darn sure that the channel was clean, the 24-inch culvert that's on the plans is clean, there's no obstructions anywhere, and I would verify it myself before I brought anybody out, meaning the town, DPW to inspect this, or Caleb to inspect it. I would make sure that was all done, and I still think that could be done in the next 2 weeks. I mean, this isn't a ton of work. So would the applicant like to continue this to the next meeting?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may, just a couple points of clarification. The gutter downspout is pointing into the grass area. I sent the senior engineer pictures, and she said she would go by. I spoke with her either last week or the week before. Also, the 24-inch drain pipe was installed in 2016 in October, and I have yet to have located a best management practices for cleaning that pipe, but the inlet is on the adjacent property owner's land. So we will be taking care of that drainage swale. We did not do anything as we were told not to do any work over there. So we're just trying to cross our T's on that. But the clogged pipe, is on the adjacent property. So I just want to clarify those things, and we will be doing anything that we have to do. It was just that pipe clogged, and it is overflowing and coming up over the bank. So that is the cause of the flooding on the adjacent parcel. Okay. So I would be, I would be amenable to just granting permission to continue to the next hearing, and if we can get permission to clean that drainage swale between now and then, we will do that. But the pipe also most likely needs to be cleaned out as well.
Okay, let me make a suggestion here. Your neighbors, why don't you get together with your neighbors, talk it over, work together, unclog the culvert, get the drainage swale cleaned out, and everybody goes home free. Get your downspout redirected. Let the town worry about the school there next to you, where their downspout goes, and go from there. But if we're going to sit here and, well, it's on their property, it's clogged, and we can't open because of this, I think if you just got together and had a reasonable conversation with the owner of the school and yourselves, that something could be resolved in probably 10 minutes of a conversation, get the pipe unclogged and move forward on and get permission to clean the swale, and then you're off and running. That can all be done in 2 weeks. I mean, it's a 10-minute conversation.
I agree. Fabulous plan.
So may I have a motion to continue this to the next meeting?
John, I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second it, John.
All those in favor? Nick?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you very much. We'll see you in a little bit.
Okay. Applicant UG 786 LLC requesting site plan approval with waivers under section 9.4 of the Auburn zoning bylaw. Oh, that's it. I'm sorry. The next one has pulled their plan, correct?
We need a vote to accept their withdrawals.
Okay. So seeing this has been continued, do I have to close the hearing first?
Probably. Yeah.
May I have a vote to close the hearing on applicant SZLL Realty LLC, a definitive subdivision plan?
I'll make the motion, John.
May I have a second?
Steve, second.
All those in favor? Nick?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. May I have a motion to accept their withdrawal of this project?
I'll make that motion.
Excuse me, John. Can I just ask Adam, so they're withdrawing totally? They won't be coming back before us?
Correct.
For now.
Yeah, for the current proposed project, yeah, they're withdrawing. They may be back with something different. I can't say if they will or not.
Okay, thank you.
May I have a motion to accept their rescinding of their application for this project?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
Ron Brooks, second.
All those in favor? Nick?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. Moving on to other business. Is there any discussion, Adam?
I just want to highlight one thing. I'll make it brief because I've been here a while. There's a Goddard Park conceptual survey. It's an interactive survey. It was just put out last week. This is part of a grant the town received through CMRPC. We've been talking about this for about a year, but it's finally, it's out, it's active. We've had some 100 people so far, so I just encourage everybody to take it if they want to share it with friends, family, your YouTube page, whatever you want to, however you want to do it. Get it out there. It's kind of interesting, and it's kind of a unique survey. This hasn't been done before by CMRPC, so just take a look at it.
Sounds good. There's no decisions to present, so may I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of 3/9/2021 as is?
How many votes do you need to approve them?
3.
3.
Okay.
If there's a problem,
I have to abstain.
it's either a yay or nay, Steve.
I'll make the motion, John.
We don't, okay.
The abstaining thing is...
Correct. I just wanted to make sure before we made that motion that we had enough people to vote on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I accept your motion, Ron, and may I have a second?
This is Nick. I'll second it.
All right, John Regan, myself is an aye. It is a vote. 3-1. May I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Nick. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Nick Lynch?
Aye.
Ron Brooks?
Aye.
Steve Chambers?
Aye.
Myself is an aye. It is a vote. Next meeting is planned for 4/13/2021. Thank you, gentlemen, and everyone online. I appreciate it. Have a great night.